Mr. Sasaki is here on behalf of Mr. Layton. And I did see that the court had appointed you just the end of August. You have filed your notice of appearance. And I think Ms. Farr is on this case as well. Ms. Farr, any objection to a 2-week set over to see if Dad can converse with his attorney?
The 2-week set over is fine. The petitioner has to file the proof of service on Dad anyway, so that's fine. But Dad is incarcerated. That's why there's no way for him to have a phone call. He gets 2 phone calls a week. He has to pay for those calls. And so he has no way to call out to his attorney. The attorney would have to call the prison and set up a time for them to facilitate that call.
A legal call.
Yeah.
Mr. Sasaki, do you have that information or do you need that information?
Yes, we've got that information,
Okay.
and we've reached out to him, and we've set up a day for him to call us, and have received permission from the court administrator to accept collect calls, and those charges have been authorized. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we will be able to connect with him within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. And then Ms. Powers, I know you're here on this case on behalf of the state. Any input on a 2-week continuance?
I have no objection.
Okay. And I am just looking through my Zoom screen. Do we have the petitioner online on this case?
Yes, I'm Gina Canoni.
There you are. Thank you, ma'am. Any objection to a 2-week continuance? The court would be extending the immediate emergency. Well, do we have an immediate emergency order in place? Let me just double check. It looks, well, it looks like we did have the emergency minor guardianship order. And then when you all were in front of Judge Basher on August 29th, the court notes state he was going to re-up that or reissue it. That order might still be with him. But what I will do, absent an objection from any party, is extend that through our next court date of October 17 at 10:30. Does that work?
That works. And Your Honor, when I said the proof of service, I misspoke. What I meant was the consent. Father has signed a consent.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Nancy,
we can address. Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
the reason that Mr. Layton requested an attorney is because he didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to know, what was going on. And since then, we've developed rapport, and he's
that's
great with it.
Understood. And since his attorney is here and they want the chance to talk to him, I probably won't get too far into the merits on it. But I think that is probably what we'll discuss at the next hearing, assuming he can connect with his attorney, is whether that consent is something that he still wants to move forward with, or if he's changing his mind and wants to object to the guardianship. And we'll certainly deal with that at the next hearing when he talks to his counsel.
Okay. All righty.
I understand you're representing the mother in this matter, Ms. Davis. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Last time we were here, we did extend the immediate emergency minor guardianship. I don't think, but we did address the school issue, but it sounded like there was still an issue of getting child into a specialty school. So first, I guess, Mr. Gooday, I'll turn it over to you, and then Ms. Farr for what the parties are requesting today.
Well, Your Honor, I spoke with my client last night. I think she still needs to speak with Ms. Farr for the report. I don't think we're objecting if it needs to be set over for that to be completed.
Okay. Ms. Farr, go ahead.
That's correct. I have interviewed the child and the grandfather, but not the mother yet. And the grandfather still has to complete the training and file the standard petition and reserve
Mhm.
everybody. And so there's quite a few things to do. So I would suggest setting it out for 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And the child is enrolled at Columbia Heights.
Okay. All right, and Mr., is it Hero?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. No problem. Hey, so the request is for about a 3 to 4 week set over. I'm kind of leaning towards about 4 weeks to give time for Ms. Davis to chat with Ms. Farr and Ms. Farr to write a report or at least an opinion about where we go from here. Do you have any objection with that?
No, Your Honor, but I do have something to put it. Elliot is enrolled in Quest Academy.
So
He is enrolled in Quest Academy, the special school now. He goes
Good.
to school 5 days a week now. The bus picks him up at home and brings him home.
Great.
He's getting adjusted, but he only goes 3 hours a day for 5 days a week now. So that will give plenty of time in 4 weeks to see how he adjusts to the school, because we are having some issues with anger and things of that sort. But
Yeah,
he is enrolled in a special school, Your Honor. He's been taken care of.
And that was one of my notes from last time was this specialty school enrollment. So I really appreciate that update and thank you for that information and for doing that. That sounds like the best place for him right now.
It is the best place, Your Honor, for him right now. He does seem to like it, but like I said, we had some issues yesterday with anger problems, which we're trying to deal with, but he's seeing psychologists there. Plus he has a special person that he sees at the hospital besides his doctor. So I'm doing everything I can to get him controlled.
Good. And then
he's
also, no,
Yes, ma'am.
that's great. What we'll do, you probably already heard Ms. Farr mention, in addition to, so you have filed the emergency minor guardianship. If I grant that down the road, it's only good for 60 days. It can be re-upped for another period of time. But if you intend to make this more permanent, you will at some point need to file a minor guardianship full petition with the court. And then you have to serve the parties again with that. You can do that simultaneously with having this emergency case pending, and then we just merge them together.
That's what Ms. Farr told me. So I
Okay.
have all the paperwork for that. I just have to get it filled out and copies and put it to the court.
Understood. So let's give you all a new court date. 4 weeks out would be October 31st, or we could go to November 7th, which would be 5 weeks out. Is there a preference?
Let's do November 7th because the 31st is Halloween.
Yes.
So let's do November 7th would be fine with me. And that gives everybody plenty of time to take care of things that need to be taken care of, I reckon.
Mr. Gooday, Ms. Farr, does November 7th at 10:30 work?
Yes, works for me.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll get the immediate order extended through that date, and then hopefully Ms. Davis will have reached out to Ms. Farr by then, and we can make some progress on the 7th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you all. 08.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I understand this to be a petition by Mr. Kamba to terminate a guardianship. Mr. Kamba, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Okay. Just going to get into that file. I did take a look at this and I see that you did have personal service on the guardian. Do we have the guardian present with us?
No, they took my kids and they left to Mexico last week, knowing that we had court today. And I just found out like 2 days ago that they did that.
Okay. Well, so I have some concerns about your request. So this isn't something I'm going to grant without further review. I do have significant concerns about them not being here. Ms. Farr, are these termination petitions something where GALs will get involved in?
Yes, and I believe this was Tina Day's case.
I see that. I'm thinking of reappointing Ms. Day to this case because I have concerns about the petition, but I don't have the guardians here. So Mr. Kamba, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a new court date, but I'm also going to issue an order reappointing Ms. Day, appointing Ms. Day to this issue. So Ms. Day will probably be in touch with you.
Yeah, can I speak?
You can speak, yes.
So ever since I told my parents that I was not gonna just go for unsupervised visits with my kids, that I was gonna go for terminating the guardianship, my parents did not allow me to go and see my kids. They would kick me off the property, and they told my kids all sorts of like stuff that they didn't need to know about court, about just the guardianship itself. And since then, my parents haven't really allowed me to speak with my kids for more than a few minutes. And I have parental rights. It's just a guardianship. It's not like I gave up my parental rights. And with them leaving to Mexico, knowing that they had court today, I don't know how pushing it until later is going to help when my kids are missing school. They were already doing bad in school. I had filed for.
Well, sir, hold on. Sir, hold on. Back up. I am telling you, after reviewing your underlying case, as well as your motion to terminate the guardianship, the court has concerns about granting you the request you are, the relief you are requesting. The order from 2022 that appointed them as the minor guardians allows them the authority to apply for passports and travel internationally. So right now, I have no indication that they have done anything wrong. I wish they were here, but I am going to appoint a GAL to look into this further. I am not granting you the relief you are requesting without a hearing, which is what is required. So I am setting a new court date. I am appointing a GAL. And when you come back, we will have further testimony on this. You will be allowed to give testimony. Were you represented by an attorney in the underlying petition?
When this was first set up, I believe I was.
I'm just looking to see. No, you filed a consent, so I don't think you were ever appointed an attorney. The minors had an attorney.
Yes.
Are you asking for an attorney in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. What is your current income? What is it? Guesstimate per month, how much you make?
Maybe like 2,500 at the most.
Okay. Do you work? Is that full-time hours?
Yes.
Do you receive any sort of state assistance?
No.
Okay. And how many dependents do you take care of on that amount?
Well, so 4 technically, because I paid child support, and then I'd also was giving money for my daughters. So
you are given additional money, or you give additional money?
I give this additional money.
Okay. So that you pay child support on the 3 children that are part of the guardianship?
Cash, yes, but my son, I pay child support via they take it from my for my checks.
Okay. Do you have any dependents that you currently reside with?
No.
Okay. With you said 4 dependents?
Yes.
Okay, so Jasmine, is it Michelle,
Michelle
and Isabella? And then
and
who's
Gabriel.
the 4th one?
And Gabriel, my son,
Okay, and how old's Gabriel?
3 years old.
Okay. Where does Gabriel reside?
With his mom.
Okay. With 4 dependents, I am going to find that you qualify for a county pay attorney. I will assign one to you. I don't have that name. Court administration is going to have to get it. So I will get an order done and you should have that information later this week. I'm going to set a hearing on this to give the GAL time to contact parties. Let's go 3 weeks out. Can you return October 24th at 10:30?
Yeah.
Okay. And by then, I hope that you'll have been in touch with your attorney and we can have more discussion about how to proceed forward. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also I'm gonna send notice of this new hearing date to the guardians.
Yeah. Well, good luck contacting them because they've shut their phones off.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna call them, so I'm gonna send it to the last address they've left with this court.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see you back on October 24th at 10:30. Nice to see you there, Ms. Maddox. Thank you for being here, and Ms. Farr. I think when we were last together, there was the question of service. So I think I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Farr, and let me know where we're at.
We still need to get service on father.
Okay.
And then we are still waiting for Ms. Holt to file the emergency petition.
Right.
I'm not going to proceed with that, Your Honor. I'm just going to let this play out.
Okay.
Okay, so you're not seeking the emergency order. You're not planning to file the emergency petition?
No, I've had it for so long now. I'm just going to wait for this to be concluded.
Okay. Where are you at with service attempts on father?
I actually talked to his mother this morning.
Okay.
And she said she has not seen him for 5 years. She has documentation showing that he does have brain damage from a child and he is on drugs and he's been on the street since he was 18 years old. She said she would do anything she needed to give the court this information, whether it be a phone call, an email, a certified letter, anything. And then I also gave Sherry Farr copies of text messages that I had sent to Matthew over Facebook Messenger, and then all the other stuff that I have already done.
Okay. So, I mean, that type of information isn't what I would consider admissible for me to make a ruling on. So are we at a position where Ms. Maddox, you intend to file some sort of motion with this court to authorize alternative service, or where are we at in that regard? Because I, a phone call to the court from this individual isn't going to be admissible. So,
well, Sherry herself is the one that gave me the phone number.
I understand. Ms. Farr, maybe you can help out here.
Yeah, so I gave her the phone number that I found that I believed belonged to father, and it appears that it belongs to his mother instead.
Okay.
And then that is who Miss Maddox contacted. I'm just trying to get into into Odyssey right now. There was an adult criminal case, and I was trying to get in to see when it was, because I just looked at it a couple days ago. I think it was in the last year or so, where it looks like he is in Clark County.
Okay.
He was at that time. So, but there wasn't an address on any of the documents. So I couldn't find an address in the court records, but I believe he is somewhere here in Clark County. So I think with a little more due diligence in trying to contact his mother again, maybe, or other relatives, that we should be able to find him.
Okay. So Ms. Maddox, I'm going to allow some additional time for that. How much time are you wanting?
When I submitted my last documents to the court, I found, I don't understand why we have to do this publication, that it can be not required by the court. I have done.
Right, Ms. Maddox, hold on. I know you brought this up last time, and I understand you are not represented, and I'm being as clear as I can be, and I was last time as well. I don't have any admissible evidence in front of me showing that all avenues for service have been exhausted. So at this time, and also with Ms. Farr's input that he likely is in Clark County, and we do think with more due diligence, we may be able to find him. There is nothing in front of me that authorizes me to allow to proceed without service. So my only option for you today is to allow additional time for you to get him served. I understand your frustration, but that is how we're proceeding, and that's how I'm mandated to proceed under the statute.
Okay, I did everything Sherry asked me to do. And so
Right, but I think there's a disconnect a little bit here when you're saying things to me like, hey, the mom can call the court, the mom can send an email. This is Cowlitz County Superior Court. This isn't some sort of administrative hearing that we do on the side. If you want me to consider evidence, it has to be presented to the court and filed with the court clerk in a format that is admissible for legal pleadings and legal documents. Okay.
I just got the information at 9:45 p.m. last night
and no one is faulting you at all. I'm just trying to help you understand why, because I can sense your frustration level every time you come here, because I know you want this done. I know child has been with you for a very long time. So this all seems like something that we should be able just to kind of snap our fingers and make happen. But the statute has very strict requirements on these sorts of things when we're doing things like terminating parental rights, essentially. So we do need that service. I'm going to give you some additional time. If I have you back October 24th, does that seem workable to the parties, or are you thinking 4 weeks instead of 3 weeks?
Your Honor, I have a trial on the 24th, so I would prefer to go out. And I also, I have explained to Ms. Maddox that when we get to a point where I feel like all options are exhausted, then that's what I would put in my report, and then the court would be able to make a decision at that time.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that input. So let's go 4 weeks out to October 31st at 10:30. Will that work for the parties?
That's fine, but could you tell me what more you would like me to do so I have an idea?
So I am not your legal advisor. I'm here to make a decision based on what's presented in front of me. So what I can tell you right now is I don't have enough admissible evidence to make a determination that with due diligence, this individual cannot be served. Okay. So I think check back in with Ms. Farr and then go from there. And hopefully we'll have some more answers by the 31st. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And then since this is not an emergency order, there's nothing for me to reissue. So we'll simply go ahead and set that new hearing date. Anything else on this case right now?
That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Muldoon. Thank you. Hello. Do I have anyone else here on this matter? Oh, go ahead. Can you unmute?
I'm Janie Ammons. I'm Cassandra Redden's sister.
Okay. And are you all logging in? I think this has happened before. Is everyone else logged in as potential witnesses?
I'm just here for moral support.
Okay. Ms. Ammons?
Yes.
What is your role here today?
whatever my sister needs me to be here for.
Okay. And then,
Witness whatever she may need.
okay, anyone else on this matter? Ms. Davis, I see you may have tried to unmute. The court can't hear you. Can you try again?
It shows that I'm.
There it goes.
unmuted.
Now we can
Okay.
hear you. And what is your role here today?
I'm here for support.
Okay. And then I think I also see Ms. Glessing, who is on for this case. Anyone else on for this case?
Dustin Redden, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just let parties know if you are not if you're not the petitioner, you're not the parent, I'm going to have you just stay muted. If we get to a point where, and I think you all have heard this from me before, where we need testimony, we certainly will come to you. But at this point, it seems like the indication is you all are here for moral support to one or another party. So please just stay muted at this point. So last time we were together, I had a question about service. So Ms. Redden, what can you tell me about service?
My sister sent an email to Brianna, and I believe she got it.
Yes, Your Honor, I did receive the email from her sister about their petition.
Okay, so did that include the petition, the notice of petition, and then the emergency order?
Yeah, I was everything. I was received by everything by email.
Okay, and are you agreeing to accept service in that manner?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then when we were here last, I did ask you whether you were requesting an attorney at this time, and on September 26th, you declined, but I am going to ask you again whether you're asking to be screened for an attorney that would represent you in this proceeding, depending on your income at no cost to you.
As of right now, I will decline. I would like to see how today goes. And then from there, we'll I'll see about a lawyer if I need.
Okay. So typically the sooner you get attorney representation, kind of the speedier some of these proceedings can go. Okay. So just think about that, because well, let's talk a little bit, but what I'm inclined to do is appoint a guardian ad litem to this case that can interview all the parties and make a recommendation to the court. Since we were dealing with service up until now, we haven't gotten to that point. So that really would be my next step. But Ms. Redden, let me hear from you first. Well, hold on a second. Ms. Muldoon, let me just clarify. Are you objecting to the guardianship?
Objecting to their entire petition, yes.
Okay. So while I'm talking to Ms. Redden, I do want you to think about whether being screened for an attorney at no cost to you makes sense at this point. Ms. Redden, go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor. We are petitioning it because we've actually been taking care of Austin since he was 1. You can see with everything that we put in the documents, Bree isn't able to, and it's to the point where Austin needs medical care. He needs counseling. He's very upset. He is very aggressive. He is trying to hurt animals. He's trying to hurt us. I am working with his school to get him counseling. He has a dentist appointment coming up that I did tell Bree about before we filed. He needs to be seen by doctors. He's behind on medical. He needs to be seen by 2 different specialists, one for one of his testicles and one for his seizures. I've asked them if it would be, for his vest to be seen. In the prior times, Bree has put him in a lot of danger. So that is why we're filing right now for this.
Ms. Muldoon, let me just hear briefly from you. And this is not, I'm without the GAL right now, I'm not actually going to make a decision on the emergency minor guardianship. I think we're still, for me, kind of in this immediate guardianship phase before we go down that road. But just briefly, kind of what's your response to Ms. Redden?
I will say her petition is true to a fault, Your Honor. I wasn't, I did ask Cassandra, and it was actually her mother, Miss Kelly Swingler, that I asked to help with my son, who and Cassandra just came in at the same time and helped with Junior. At the time, I'm not gonna fib to the court that I was this great person. No, I did do my wrongings. Unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out my life continuously now. I'm almost 30 days in my recovery. I have, I alienated myself away from my family who I knew could help me. But, when I'm under a substance abuse, and I never really actually knew the full effects of what it caused me in my addiction. And so at the end of the day, I have wrongs, but I want to continue healing and bonding with my son. At the end of the day, I've never heard my son harm animals. That's kind of a first. My son does have anger problems, which I do plan on helping him and getting that addressed. Along with myself, I put myself in an anger management parental classes. I'm doing parental classes 3 times a week. I go to church twice a week. I'm continuously doing what I got to do that I feel is the best step for me to be better for my son at the end of the day. And all I can ask is, if you would grant me to continue to do that with my son, it'd be greatly appreciated.
How are, I think we did video visitation at this point. Yeah. How is that going?
It's going good. Some nights there's been like maybe 2-3 nights where I couldn't video chat him, either because I came out of a meeting late from my AA meetings, or I came out and my phone was like at 3% when I'm video chatting him. So I got to talk to him for a second, but he's 4 years old, so his attention span being on a video visit isn't always the best, but it's still good that I've been talking to him. And mentally, I can tell you, not having him it's kind of rough, but what, I'm trusting the process and what my sponsors and what my recovery navigators tell me to do, and I'm continuously doing that.
Are you still in, I don't mean inpatient necessarily, but are you living?
Yeah, I'm still, I am actually living with my grandma Barbara now, until Oxford, because there's no women and children Oxford openings. But I am on waiting list, so I'll be one of the first people to be able to go in when they have openings. Okay. So me and Junior can more than welcome come to my grandma Barbara's until there is an opening, and I plan on continuing my IOP classes, being here and being at the Women and Children's Oxford as soon as I can get into one.
Okay. So I know last time we were together, one of your requests was to have some sort of in-person visitation. Is that something you're still requesting currently, or tell me where you're at with that?
I mean, I would really like my son, to do this with him. That's my motivation, Your Honor. In all reality, that's my motivation, is him. I found my higher power again, and I'm so grateful for that. But at the end of the day, my motivation is him, and that's who I'm focusing on myself. But my motivation to continuously focus on myself and my recovery is because of him.
How far apart do you and Ms. Redden live?
I believe she lives in Woodland and I'm in Vancouver.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Redden, what is your position on any sort of supervised visitation between child and Ms. Muldoon? I'm not even contemplating unsupervised at this point, but I'm thinking of a scenario where you would be with child and Ms. Muldoon, at least to initiate some in-person contact. What's your position on that?
If it was slow, because Austin has seen his mom very here and there. Before I filed this petition, she hadn't seen him in 6 weeks, you know, and it was maybe once or twice a month she would see him, and then she would take him somewhere else and drop him off. And for him, I think it needs to be slow. If it's supervised, if she can pass a drug test, and it's a safe place for him to go, then I could see, you know, him having those visitations.
Okay. Well, and yeah, until we can have a GAL kind of flesh out exactly living situations and who is safe and what is a safe place, I think the only way I would be willing to grant visitation right now is if Ms. Redden, you are with the child during visitation. Is that something you're able to do?
I do not want to be in
You do not want to do that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Ms. Muldoon, do you have any recommendations for someone that could supervise the visitation?
Yeah, either Barbara Garrier or my mother. Barbara Garrier is my grandmother, Junior's great grandmother, and then there's my mother.
Well, I don't have any information on those individuals.
I am her mother.
You are the mother?
I am the mother.
Dale is my mother.
I'm the grandmother to Junior.
Okay. Here's what I want to do, since Ms. Redden is not able to accompany for supervised visitation. Here's what I want to do. And Ms. Muldoon, I'm not keeping you from your child. Every time you've come here, you've impressed me with the work that you're doing. So please keep doing the work. You are on the right path. But for purposes of the court making the right decision about the best interest of the child, I want to get the GAL involved, because the GAL can inquire into your mother and grandmother and make a recommendation to the court about whether those are safe individuals to be the supervisors for visitation. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying I don't have any information about them. Okay. So what if
I get into an women and children's Oxford right away?
That was the situation previously where there would be a professional person to supervise. That would be a different story for me. I would be more comfortable with that. Okay. So if that happens when we come back, I'm much more comfortable with a professionally quote unquote supervised visitation than just someone I don't know. So I don't want to make any changes to visitation today, but I am today going to appoint the GAL, who will be in touch with all of you immediately. Ms. Muldoon, have you reconsidered your position on appointment of an attorney?
I would like an attorney.
Okay. Do you receive state assistance currently?
Yeah, I receive food stamps.
Okay. I will find that you qualify for an attorney at county pay. So I will also get an attorney assigned to you today.
Okay.
And then let's come back in 2 weeks to talk about visitation. I don't anticipate we'll have a full show cause hearing on the emergency petition in 2 weeks. I think that will be more like 6 to 8 weeks out. But let's come back in 2 weeks to see what we can do with the supervised visitation issue, okay? Okay. I will reissue the immediate order through October 17th. We'll come back on that date specifically to talk about visitation. And then hopefully we'll be able to better, with an attorney on board and a GAL, determine how much time we need before we do a show cause hearing on the underlying emergency guardianship petition, okay? Okay, Ms. Muldoon, thank you for your participation. Again, keep doing what you're doing, okay? Ms. Redden, thank you for being here. Thank you for your input. We'll see you on the 17th. And Mr. Smith, what is your role in this case?
More or less moral support, but all the claims have been made against me, so could be a witness potentially.
I see. Are you Ms. Gilliam's significant other?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and just mute, because you're not actually a party to this case, but these are open proceedings. You're welcome to be here, but go ahead and mute yourself. All right, so I guess I'm a little concerned, Ms. Cost. I'll first come to you. I was not the judicial officer involved in your initial hearing. But to me, what it does look like is that there was a motion hearing as recently as September 21st, where Judge Warning actually took testimony, denied your petition, and indicated his ruling that you transfer child in increments slowly. He wasn't anticipating it would be same day, but he did anticipate that you would be transitioning child back to mother, as he found mother able and willing to serve as a parent. So why are we here again?
First of all, Your Honor, I would just want to alert the court that Samantha is present next to me. She has said she does not want to be present on video for this.
Okay. How old is Samantha?
She's almost 18. She'll be
Okay.
18 February 1st.
Did she have an attorney when this was originally heard?
She did not.
Okay.
One of her requests moments ago was that if possible, that a guardian ad litem be assigned to the case for review and then report to the court.
Well, so, well, first, before we get there, I guess, Ms. Cost, what have you done to comply with the judge's ruling to transfer child back to mother?
So after the ruling, I had contacted my daughter by text, asked her if she was interested in working out a parenting agreement, and I got zero response on that topic. 2 days later, I received a text, and there should be a copy of it in the record, stating that she was waiting for a copy of the final report from the court, or the final document with the judge's ruling, and the closure of the CPS case. The text was sent on September 23rd, 2 days after the ruling in court on the 21st. Said, afternoon, so after a lot of thought, I've decided Sam can stay with you until I have written verification of the CPS case is closed and a copy of the final order. Once I have those, I'll get in touch to make arrangements to get Sam. So added to that, and Samantha's expressed fear and concern over Mr. Smith's behavior, and Kirsten residing in the Smith residence. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to Samantha's testimony on the hearing of the 21st, but she put a lot of detail as to the experience of being raised in environments where there were multiple partners who displayed domestic violence and the instability of moving among states and schools. So when Sammy found out that her mother had sent a text that she was awaiting the documentation in order to return her to the home where Mr. Smith resides, that was when I, in talking with Sammy, decided that the best step was to make another attempt to get the emergency guardianship. Part of doing that was to request a watch background investigation that we went online and paid for, and that showed that Mr. Smith does have domestic violence in his background. It is some time ago. The other thing that caused for concern is that I think part of what's at play here is that Sammy has witnessed so much domestic violence in so many ways for so long that anything that looks remotely like domestic violence, she's more sensitized to. So when she was seeing behavior in Mr. Smith that mirrored initial behavior in past partners, I think that her reaction has been very, very sensitive to that whole thing. Since Samantha has been with us on September 11th, we have, we've worked with CPS, who was involved for a time. We have worked with law enforcement concerning a sexual molestation that occurred with her from a past partner, not Mr. Smith. We've transported her to and from school. We've converted an office in the home to a private bedroom for her. The pursuit of legal matters has been predominantly at her guidance and her stated request. She has a petition pending requesting guardianship be given to me.
Is that, and I don't have that in front of me, but you said she's almost 18 years old.
Correct. She turns 18 on February 1st.
Okay.
Basically, what we're
Has she-
trying to do on Sammy's behalf is to ensure her physical, mental, emotional well-being and safety out of the residence of Mr. Smith, who displays actions and behavior that mirror past partners.
Well, right. I guess I'm, appointing a GAL is not necessarily a bad idea. I do see that the father has consented again in this new petition. And then just to make sure, Ms. Gilliam, have you been served a copy of this latest petition by Ms. Cost?
I was emailed a copy of everything at 7 o'clock last night while I was on shift at the casino.
Oh, well, that's not proper service.
Well, Your Honor, we hired
Hold on,
a server.
Has she been personally served with these documents?
She was finally served after a process server made 3 attempts. She made arrangements to meet with him before work on Sunday and then failed to show. He went to the home on the 1st to serve her prior to her going to work. And his statement reads, he was met by 2 teenage females who said she was not at home. I attempted again on the 2nd at 10:22 a.m. As I drove up the driveway, I noted a white male in the driveway working on Kirsten's vehicle. I also observed an unknown person run into the house. I knew the male from previous contact with Kirsten as her boyfriend and asked if Kirsten was home. He stated she was not. He stated he did not want to be involved with her court stuff and refused acceptance of the docs. I attempted to call Kirsten again and could not get an answer. So 3 attempts were made prior to us emailing her directly.
Well, so here's how this works though. If you have to personally serve her, if you can't accomplish that, then you come to court and you ask for permission for email service. It's not just something you do if you can't get personal service. So I'm just going to start with this because service is kind of the baseline finding I have to even move forward. So Ms. Gilliam, are you agreeing to accept these documents by email service?
No, Your Honor, I would like hard copies delivered in hand, and I do not work today. So when the process server first contacted me, I told him that I had an availability window before I had to go to work, and he did not show up by the time that I had to leave. The security company that I work for has me primarily positioned at the ALNA casino, and my schedule changes on a dime. I have watched in real time on my app as my schedule has changed, and based on my contract, I am required to honor the schedule changes as they come up. I was told that he had attempted to come to the house, and one of the children that he talked to were Nick's daughters. They said somebody came up looking for me, and then he called me yesterday and said that somebody had tried to leave me paperwork, but I have had no further phone calls from the process server since the initial phone call.
Okay. So, Ms. Cost, I guess the first thing I'll say is we do need to get this petition, the new petition, served personally on Ms. Gilliam. Let me also ask, is Ms. Samantha requesting to be screened for appointment of an attorney on her behalf? She does have the right to be represented by an attorney.
You have to say something, honey. You can't just nod. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you currently work?
No.
Okay. Are you in school full time?
Yes.
Okay. I will find that you qualify for a court appointed lawyer at county cost. I will get that order issued. As soon as I get a name of a person who will accept appointment on this case, I will let you know. Ms. Gilliam,
Your Honor.
Hold on a second. Ms. Gilliam, I'm also going to ask you if you're wishing to be screened for an attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I actually filed a motion for an attorney with the last hearing, and I would like to reaffirm that request.
I saw that, and it was maybe a day or so before the hearing. So did the prior judicial officer talk to you about your right to an attorney and screen you for counsel?
No, he did not, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, and I think since the petition was denied, that's probably the reasoning there. But I think in this case where got a couple things going on. We've got a new petition filed, and then I have concerns about compliance with the prior judicial order.
Well,
so not by you, Ms. Gilliam. I'm just concerned that right now what we have is we have two conflicting judicial orders. One says return the child, and then Ms. Cost refiled ex parte and had a different judicial officer sign a new emergency order. So we are in gray area where you both have two judges who are telling you two different things. One says return child to Ms. Gilliam, and now the other one has said on an emergency basis, Ms. Cost keeps minor child. So I do think that Ms. Gilliam, it is in your best interest to have an attorney appointed. What is your current income?
That depends, Your Honor. Like I said, my hours can change on a dime, so my income can range anywhere from 800 give or take to 1,200 a month.
Per month? Okay. How many, so let's even assume 1,200 a month. How many dependents do you take care of on that amount of money?
Samantha is currently my only dependent, so 0 at this point.
Just you?
Just myself, yes.
Okay.
I do contribute to the household for the household expenses, of course. And then fuel, I do have a garnishment on my wages from previous actions that were filed. And they take up to 25% of my wages.
So what's your take home every month? Kind of on a low end and high end.
Well, recently with the hearing and the way that I've had to kind of monkey tail everything due to the timing of service and trying to get everything put together, I think my income for last month was right around, I want to say 9 or 10, 900 or 1,000.
For the whole month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will find that you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. I will get that order, and as soon as we have a name for you, the court will let you know and the attorney will reach out to you. Do we have your most recent contact information? I have
yes, Your Honor.
The Castle Rock address and then a phone number ending in 9822.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to touch on something that Ms. Cost had said. When we had our last hearing on the 21st, I was texted by my mother not 30 minutes after the court hearing asking if I would be willing to enter a temporary custody agreement based on the judge's opinion. Because I struggle with my own mental health issues, I have diagnosed manic depression, I have diagnosed CPTSD, and I did not respond initially because I didn't want to come off as being reactionary, or as my mother has called me in the past, as being irrational when I'm upset about things. I did not respond to a text from her until she texted me at 4:15 or around 4:15, 4:20 in the evening saying that she had planned to bring Samantha back. I had mentioned in the court hearing, the judge said that there were some things that needed to happen before Samantha was actually integrated back into the house. And I told my mother that based on the judge's opinion, I was willing to let Samantha stay with her for the time being until those things could be completed, but that I was not interested in a custody arrangement. I have had, so my oldest daughter is turning 19 in December, and I have a standing order out of Oregon that was issued in 2006. I have sole custody of Samantha. I've been fully responsible for her entire life, aside from the 9 months that she was living with her dad in Kansas. Yes, there have been some issues with partners in the past, and I can understand Samantha's concern and her feelings of anxiety in the past. I moved here August 10th, and since moving here, my mother has tried to talk me into letting Samantha stay with her for her senior year, at which I declined. She was trying to talk me into having her go to a Longview school, which makes zero sense because we live in an area where we can pick between 3 school districts. And because Mr. Smith's daughters already go to Kelso High School, we just decided to have her go there. And then we had an incident where days before my mother came and picked up Samantha, Mr. Smith had to tell his children that their mother had passed away.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I think, and I think we're getting kind of far-fetched from where we need to be right now, because we don't even have service on you. So I'm not taking testimony on how we're going to ultimately decide this case. I see Mr. Smith's history. I see how old it is. We're going almost on 20 years. So this is that's not a linchpin of what I'm going to base this case on at all. You know, I actually am more concerned that we've had a full hearing and a denial, and yet here we are again, kind of with no change in circumstances. We're just wanting to redo what's already been decided. So
I haven't had time to.
Nope. Yep. So both of you, Ms. Cost, I'm talking now. What I am saying is we need to get service. I mean, you can roll your eyes if you want.
No, I'm not. I was looking at Sammy because she wants to speak.
Okay. So the deal is we don't have service on Ms. Gilliam. I have a judge's order that actually denied your petition. So I'm not taking testimony today. I'm somewhat reluctant to even redo the emergency order that a new judicial officer has put into place, but I will today, very short-term basis, only so we can get an attorney appointed for Ms. Gilliam to address the court.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Ugh.
It's okay. Take your time.
Regarding abusive behavior or seeing that happen, the night I was returned to the house, I was trying to speak with my mother privately on why I had left. And from around the house, I heard Nick shout if I was so threatened by him, I could get the fuck off his property twice.
Okay.
And my mother had to tell him that is not what I was saying.
Okay.
And I genuinely do not want to go back to that house because of the years I've had to suffer being a piece of meat between her partners. To belittle, to humiliate, to harm. I don't want to go through that again, and I am seeing too many similarities to feel safe in that household, to a point I had texted my sibling, Hannah Brightmeyer, that I didn't feel safe and I needed to get out. I'm sorry for crying.
Nope, Samantha, you're absolutely fine. I understand and I appreciate your input. I think it explains some of the additional reason why a new petition has been filed. So I appreciate your input. I think having an attorney appointed to you is a great idea in this case. They will be there to advocate for what you want, especially because you are 17 years old. I think that is important. Okay.
Okay.
So I appreciate you being here today. We are going to get an attorney appointed for you. I'm going to reissue the temporary order granting just emergency guardianship to Ms. Cost. Let's have you all, and Ms. Cost, you need to get that personally served on Ms. Gilliam. I'm thinking because it does take us a little time, especially to find lawyers for minors, I'd like to set this out 3 weeks to October 24th. That'll also give the GAL time to interview the parties. Are you all available October 24th at 10:30 a.m.?
I will be
Yes, Your
traveling
Honor.
out of town for work that day, Your Honor. Is it possible for Thursday, the 26th, perhaps?
No, I'm not going to put it back on that docket because that'll be the same judge who already heard this case and made a ruling. So I think you all need a fresh set of eyes.
Okay.
So I could give you,
Monday would work.
we only have these on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's going to have to be on a Tuesday. Are you able to Zoom in?
No, I'll be in a prison that day for work and I have no cell service from the prison.
Okay. What about the 31st?
Yes, that's open.
Ms. Gilliam, is the 31st open for you?
As far as I know, Your Honor, my schedule is made a week in advance, so that is possibly subject to change, but I can let my employer know that I need that day off.
Okay. Or if that is a working day and we need to reschedule, you can reach out to the court. Or if it's a situation where they'll give you, you know, a 15-minute break to do the hearing, when you log on that day, let the court know right away that you have a work obligation that you have to get back to, and we'll get your case called first or last, depending on the timing of your break. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. So the 31st at 10:30?
10:30. Yep. Same Zoom link. It'll be the minor guardianship docket. I'll get the orders issued, just extending the immediate order through that date. We'll get a lawyer appointed to both Ms. Gilliam and Ms. Breitmeyer, and then we'll be back on the 31st. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.